Hey guys, what's up? It's Thomas. Today we're back here with Film Theory. I haven't been in a while, to be honest. So, I'm here with my first lead Film Theory. So yeah, this is the second one he's done after MadPat's, YouTube retirement. This one's called, this series is not made for kids. It's a Guppy thing. I don't even know what Guppy is, but if I have to guess, YouTube horror, I guess? I mean, like I said, that's my best guess. We're about to find out, so let's just see what kind of horrors we unearth today. Be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Here we go.
Hey, kids. My name is Guby. And
Guby?
today, we're gonna learn about film theory. Do you know about film theory? My favorite part of film theory is the...
What? What is going on here?
Hello, Internet! Welcome
Hey,
to
Lee.
Film Theory, the show that wants to know your favorite color. My favorite color is the subscribe button. If there's one thing that I have been most excited about coming in as the host of Film Theory, it's the opportunity to really dive into the work of independent creators. Don't get me wrong, big budget content is great, but I found that, especially in horror, it's the independent creators who are able to craft the most memorable scares, because they can dive into what truly terrifies them instead of what a boardroom thinks will spook the ideal number of people, but not too much because we want them to come back for a sequel. That independence, that level of creativity and mystery and horror is what we're going to find today in Guby. The heck is Guby, I hear you ask? Well, other than a word that is really fun to say, Guby is an analog horror channel that you're gonna find right here on YouTube.com. But rather than getting its spoofs from evil animatronics like the Walton Files, or creepy found footage like the Backrooms, or body horror like The Man in the Suit, Guby is more like a parody of classic call-and-response children's entertainment like Dora the Explorer or Blue's Clues.
This is number 1. Then, this is number 2. It comes after 1.
But hey, YouTube, it's not too much like those series. As the channel description tells you repeatedly, Guby is not made for kids. This is one of those series that was recommended to us by the good folks over on the Film Theory subreddit, and I have to say, you guys nailed it. Matt and I have been covering it over on GT Live, and it's some of the most fun that we've ever had overthinking things.
I saw some lore. Abby.
Last seen in her home, January 3rd, 2004? Watching something in her pajamas. Her parents,
Jamie and Albert Lang.
Told no one.
Someone in the living room.
Nah, I can't read the rest.
Yeah, right.
Oh, there we go.
No,
Just
honestly,
in a minute.
we really overthought it. By the time we got to our 5th cipher puzzle, I knew this was something that I just had to cover here on the channel. And after diving into it, there is so much more to Guby going on than the happy-go-lucky surface would have you believe. You see, underneath this facade of a smiling yellow noodle friend is a dark secret. An evil being literally worming its way into reality through the television and punishing any children that refuse to play along. Pick your favorite animal, loyal theorists. It's time to solve this mystery. So, first things first. Guby is one of those series that is very dense. Covering each and every puzzle would take a very long time. So what we're gonna do instead is hit the broad strokes and then dive into the main mysteries of the story. Cool? Cool. Let's start by going over what's actually in the Guby videos. Each of these covers a topic that you'd expect to see in a kindergarten classroom. Think letters, numbers, the color of blood, that sort of thing. Now, you may not have noticed, but there is something very strange going on here. Yeah, the more you watch, the more you realize that something's not quite right with Guby. Sometimes Guby takes drastic personality shifts, asking for personal information.
Do you want to see my favorite number? It's on one of these.
Can you read those numbers on the front to me?
And other times, Guby lets his darker interests come through.
Do you want to see my favorite animal? It's one of these.
And then sometimes, at random intervals, glitches will overtake the video.
Today, we're gonna learn about
You get the idea. Now, we don't need to sit here and go through every single video explaining exactly what happens. Please, go show some love to Guby and watch through the videos yourself. But I do want to talk about what's buried.
Also, seeing all that, just like, anyone was getting like a Amazing Central Circus vibes, feels like the abstractor really hit there. Or actually learning with Pibby might be a better, like, comparison nowadays. Like, I mean, it's not as, like, dark, like, you know, some tidal wave of the glitches, just, you know, that. But you get the idea, right? Just, I don't know, there's something taking over this supposedly, you know, family-friendly thing. Don't know what, but my guess demon, because, remember, we're warming to the ways of reality to get kids for not playing along. Oh boy. Jeez. I mean, if it is demons, then we better look out, because demons are starting to infect media again. Sorry, I just came back from Exorcist, so moving along.
In these videos. See, in classic analog horror fashion, during some of these glitches there will be pictures or information hidden in just a single frame of the video. And let me tell you, Guby loves to use this trick. In Learn Numbers, there's some Morse code hidden in one of the glitches that's difficult to read but likely translates to evolving. In Learn Shapes, we see various incarnations of Guby across different mediums. A realistic Guby, a puppet Guby, an old school cutout style Guby, and in Learn Colors, the whole video ends with an extended glitchy clip of an entirely different video.
Here you are. I want to.
But most prominently throughout multiple
And a
videos,
lot of
we see
missing
bits
kids
and pieces
reports.
of missing persons posters for children, all aged between 3 and 14. And yeah, just from a straightforward content perspective, that's Guby. So what the heck is actually going on here? Well, let's start out with the obvious bit. Guby here, he's clearly the reason that these kids are going missing. The first big
That's
piece of
obvious.
this puzzle is that the kids in these posters all seem to have gone missing while they were watching TV or in their living rooms. And we know that they were watching Guby because in Learn the Alphabet, we see that a victim's sister left the room to find their grandmother's credit card. Remember the clip we showed earlier?
Do you want to see my favorite number? It's on one of these.
Bring it over here.
What's more, during many of these glitches, we can see multiple images of different
this is a little
children
girl.
sitting in living rooms looking directly at the camera, almost as if the camera were actually a television. These are the kids that went missing, and we're seeing them from the point of view of the television, from the point of view of Guby. So somehow, Guby is kidnapping these kids through the TV, and we can even figure out how Guby is doing it too. Over on GT
Poltergeist?
Live, we wondered if the kids answering Guby's questions were sort of giving him permission to come into the real world and take them. But after rewatching the series, that's
Okay.
not actually what happens. In
Oh.
Learn Animals, Guby has this exchange with the viewer that we
Dog.
can hear.
I love animals. Do you?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
The kid answers Guby's question, and everything is great. But elsewhere in the video, the child interrupts Guby, and Guby does not take it well.
My favorite shape is...
My favorite shape is a circle.
Oh.
Guby freaks out, and notice that subtitle? It might look like nonsense, but it's actually
A
jumbled
cipher?
up letters that when put in the right order read, "Only speak when spoken
spoken
to."
to.
He's telling the child exactly how to play along, to get the answers he wants in the way he wants, when he wants. Also, notice that Guby straight up disappears here. This has to be when he's coming out of the TV to get the kids and drag them into his world. And just so we're all on the same page, this isn't the only time this happens.
And this is
A pig.
Again, those jumbled up captions read, "Listen to what I tell you, pig." Guby is then interrupted for a third and final time at the
So,
climax
three
of
strike?
the video.
You want to see my favorite animal? It's one of these. It's called a...
They're not animals.
Once again, Guby goes wild, and the video just cuts to black.
All
and
animal
also
teeth. Oh,
worth
God.
noting that the subtitles tell us that all animals have teeth, which is just factually inaccurate. I thought this was
true.
an educational program. So Guby seems to be taking these kids that he sees as not doing what they are told, speaking when they're not being spoken to, and dragging them into the TV. But what becomes of them then? Well, they become a part of Guby, still
what?
aware and still somewhat conscious. During many of the glitches across the whole series, sometimes sequences of numbers will flash on screen. Adept theorists will recognize these as some sort of cipher, and after some trial and error, I was able to figure out
What do
that
we
they
got?
were
Tap
actually
codes.
tap codes, which we've covered before over on our sister location game theory. So go check that out if you want a really
yeah.
in-depth explanation.
games. What we
If
got?
I'm being frank, most of these aren't super important to the overall mystery. They're more so used to emphasize the creep factor. Like here, where they spell out he is not who he says he is. Spoopy, to be sure, but nothing
yeah,
new.
obvious.
However, there is another tap code hidden in a later video that that reads, "Where are we?" asked Sophia. "We are in a beautiful meadow," whispered Michaela. "This
Michaela,
is not
Sophie,
a meadow,"
and-
responded Sophia. Michaela and Sophia were two of
yeah,
the kids from
Michaela
the
and
missing persons
Sophia.
posters, and as we see here, they can still see. They can even talk to each other, and some of them even think that something is wrong. And also, we know that this meadow that Michaela is seeing isn't some sort of weird purgatory TV space, because some of the kids try to communicate with the outside world through Guby. Like here in Learn the Alphabet, where there's a moment where one of the kids seems to speak out of the TV.
My favorite words are
Help me. Please help me.
That's not Guby. That's a little
Yeah,
girl
that's
speaking.
true.
Likely Michaela, since that's the missing person poster we see shortly after this.
Oh, yeah,
In fact, we
Sophia's
hear
the one
multiple
that's,
voices
like,
come out of
beautiful
Guby.
meadow.
Remember the deep male voice we heard back in Learn Numbers? And in Learn Sounds, we hear Gooby's
boy.
favorite sound, and it sounds a lot like kids screaming.
Do you want to hear my favorite sound?
Plus, the name of the channel isn't just Guby, it's Guby and Friends. The friends are
there's
clearly
multiples.
the people that he's absorbed. And after all of that evidence, if you're still doubting this, well, this should put a pretty little bow on the point.
There we go.
During one of the glitches,
Couple.
a random quote appears. This one isn't encrypted in a cipher or jumbled in a subtitle.
Nope.
It just reads, "To us as a burning bush, and said we could kill the hurricane bird." If that made no
Hurricane
sense to
bird?
you, fair. It also made no sense to me, but after some digging, I found that it's actually a quote pulled from the short story titled I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream by Harlan Ellison,
I
which,
remember that
hear
one.
this, involves a character
Oh,
being
yeah.
merged into an artificial intelligence and tortured forever. Yeah,
Pretty
I know.
much.
This was actually one of the main inspirations for the Amazing Digital Circus, and it
See?
sounds a lot like what's happening here with Guby. Just some food for thought, y'all. So that answers what Guby is and how he's
Actually,
doing it.
speaking of
But
the Amazing Digital
why?
Circus,
Why is he
we got 2
kidnapping all
weeks
these
till the
kids
premiere.
and sucking them
Nice.
into his TV purgatory? Well, for us to solve that part of the mystery, we're going to have to really dig deep and solve the biggest puzzle in the series so far. In the video Learn with
Okay, yikes. So it's not like you work with them and he takes you. It's more like you talk back, he takes you. But sounds like you get 3 strikes or not. I don't know. Like, remember, 3 of them and then he takes you. But yikes. I mean, at that point, just turn off it and unplug the TV. But I guess the kids just thought, seems fine. But still, after the glitches, I would have just been like, okay, fix your stuff, I'll come back to learning. Bye! Or something, I don't know. Still a little nerve-wracking, but, oh boy. Move along.
Guby, we quickly
go.
see
We got
that
more.
something is off. This is the first video with no subject and no Guby. Instead, there's just static. But if you look down at the captions, you will see something.
All right.
Oh my god.
So,
We got another
like
cipher.
me, your mind is first going to jump to the thought that this is some sort of cipher hidden in the closed captions.
Well, wait,
but
what's with the
notice that
different
some of the
tones of
letters in these
water?
captions are different colors than the rest of the text. That's
S-
actually impossible to do on YouTube captions. Yeah, these are physically burned into the video, but just look like YouTube captions. Honestly, this was an amazing way to
Crafty,
play
I
with
gotta
my
give you that.
expectations, and I loved it. Anyway, if we go through and collect all of the differently colored letters, you find that it
Oh,
makes a
URL
blank
link.
YouTube URL. And as soon as the fake captions stop, other letters and numbers start flashing up on screen, spelling out this.
Yeah.
Now, your first thought may be that this is the rest of the YouTube URL, but it's actually too long to work. If you try to go to the video with this code, it just breaks. But here's the cool thing, and shoutouts to
Maybe
Rubex3
shoot
on the
it?
Game Theory subreddit for helping us figure this one
Thanks,
out
Rube.
on GT Live. Down in the description, you'll find this string of numbers.
Oh,
and
yeah,
if you line
that.
these up with the previous sequence, you get a new string of text that is the
Oh,
perfect
shorter.
length for
Perfect.
a YouTube URL. Plug that sucker in and voila, a valid link to a brand new
Bright
video.
flashing
I
lights
combed
and
through this
yada,
video
yada.
frame by frame to make sure that we caught everything. And
Plastic.
while there are a ton of hidden images, they're all related to things that we've already seen in Guby. X-rays of children, images and cutouts of the missing kids, photographs
You're
of animals,
very
diagrams
humble.
of the human brain, and multiple pieces of what I can only call fan
Different-
art. But the biggest piece of information we learn here
Very
actually
blank.
comes from the captions once again. Though at first this might just seem like a strange jumble of random words with no rhyme or reason, if you take the first letter of each word here, it actually spells out this message. Ideas are birthed from the mind. He let me in.
How did
and
they
through
fix
him,
that?
I let myself out. The larger
Let
pigs
myself out.
have less teeth. The smaller pigs have more to grow. How I feast upon the teeth. How I feast upon the teeth. How I feast upon the teeth. To me,
The
this reads
teeth?
clearly as a message from Guby himself. But what about the teeth? That is weird, right? Yeah, it is. But it's also been a...
Wasn't there like a... Okay, sorry, but... Yeah, those teeth... Sorry, they're just like... They're still like in my head, there's like... I remember there was like this like... Don't think it's yokai, because we're not in Japan, so you can't use that. I don't remember. Wasn't there like a mythical creature that fed on human teeth or something? I don't know. Like, I remember it. I just can't remember the name. Don't think it was the Wendigo. That was flesh. Or just humans turned up monsters because they ate human flesh. Other than that, I got nothing. I mean, you could be the Tooth Fairy. Or Amelie, because I know she actually ate her teeth once. I mean, I'm kidding. Sorry, I had to go there. Yeah, like I said, I got nothing. I was supposed to see where the teeth come in. You know, I feast upon the teeth. Where have I heard that before?
recurring bit throughout the whole series. I mean, there was that time where the subtitles incorrectly told us that all animals have teeth. Teeth are present in a lot of the frame-perfect glitch imagery, and at the end of one of the videos, we see this clip.
that.
Try one of these. We don't want to.
This was pulled from an educational stop-motion animation called The Munchers, a fable meant to help children take care of their teeth.
Here you are, little muncher. Try one of these.
Teeth are everywhere in this series, but why? Well, that could point to a couple of things. Firstly, teeth dreams. Stick with me here. Have you ever had a dream where your teeth just get really loose and start falling out of your head? If you have, you're not alone. It's actually a fairly common dream, with philosophers dating back all the way to ancient Greece trying to figure out what they mean. One of the most popular modern interpretations of this is that the teeth in your dreams represent power. Teeth are tools used to bite, to rip and tear, so that makes sense. Well, Guby is obsessed with teeth precisely because they represent power in the subconscious human brain. And that would matter to Guby because Guby is literally a thought manifested into reality. See, back in the Learn Animals video, we encounter another glitch, but this one is different. It's less of a glitch and more of an interruption where we stay on this series of monologues for a long time. They talk about how the narrator's mind has been consumed by thoughts of him. How this narrator imagined his antics, how his name conjured up laughter, joy, innocence, and wonder, how he was an embodiment of childhood itself, and then how he was a manifestation of the narrator's desires, his aspirations, willing itself into existence through the narrator's mind. Most importantly, though, this being started taking the wheel, started pulling the strings enough so that the narrator couldn't even remember a time when this being wasn't a part of them. And by the end of it, the narrator was just a vessel for this being to will itself into existence. Not gonna lie, that's really cool.
Hello, Freddy Krueger, anybody?
This reminded me a lot of something known as a tulpa, or thought form. These are beings that come into existence through the sheer force of someone believing in them hard enough. Basically, Guby here is not a real being, but was made real because of whoever imagined him. But this does leave one major dangling thread. Who made Guby originally? Who was the narrator who brought Guby into existence? Well, we can get a pretty good idea of that too. Throughout the glitches, we can see a sharply dressed man wearing a realistic Guby mask, surrounded by an audience of children. Given the width of the man's jacket lapels, the sort of celluloid yellow aesthetic of the images, and the audience of kids that he's talking to, this is giving some real 70s show energy to me. See, in the early days of TV, particularly between the 50s and 70s, a lot of sitcoms and children's programming was filmed in front of a live studio audience. This clip from Howdy Doody gives you a pretty good example of what I mean. So it looks like this guy is the originator of Guby, and that he hosted a show as Guby sometime during the 1970s, wearing a mask to physically embody Guby to help him take the wheel. Then at some point, Guby made the jump from this sort of classic broadcast TV style program to something digital, and we know that for a fact for a few reasons. Firstly, we often see Guby turn into sort of rudimentary wireframes, which are the backbone of modern 3D animation. Secondly, the dates on the missing persons posters point to them happening sometime in the 2020s. And hey, let's be real, I doubt there are going to be many kids watching anything that isn't digital these days. When you step back and look at all of these pieces on the table, the puzzle becomes so much clearer, and it explains so much. Why is Guby taking the form of a call and response TV series? If kids hear his question and believe that he's real enough to answer him, that would make a tulpa, a being that can only exist if people believe it exists, more powerful. Why would Guby Gooby be obsessed with teeth? Well, if teeth represent power in your dreams, and dreams come from your mind, Atolpa would be obsessed with them. Why is Gooby targeting kids and kidnapping them? Well, if kids watching his show aren't playing along, aren't believing in him enough to answer his questions the way he wants, when he wants, they'd be making him weaker. Plus, do you know what children happen to have more of than adults? Teeth.
Imagination.
Yeah, kids are born with all of their teeth. They're just inside of their skull. And kids just tend to be far more imaginative than adults. Like, literally, multiple studies have concluded that people become less creative as they age just because they settle into mindsets or worldviews. So again, Gooby would want that additional imagination to help him manifest in reality. The pieces just line up far too well. At this point, there isn't quite enough information to truly solve the mystery of what's going on here in Gooby. There are a lot of dangling threads that we just don't have great answers for. For example, there are
I'm
other
guessing
clips
there's
from
gonna be
nature
some more
documentaries
uploads.
sprinkled throughout the series.
It's because of their large and complex brains that mammals are able to pass survival information from generation to generation.
And another picture that pops up repeatedly in the glitches showing this man from the 1930s or 40s. And then there's the song that plays over the narrator's creepy monologue. This thing?
Huh?
This is a real song titled Any Little Girl That's a Nice Little Girl Is the Right Little Girl for Me from the 1910s. How does any of that fit with the idea of teeth or connect with the different eras of entertainment that Gooby is bridging? And what does any of it have to do with the concept of Atolpa? Those are all mysteries for another day, my friends. Or who knows, maybe Gooby was made by a dentist who was just really into retro music. Either way, I for one can't wait to take a bite out of the next part of Gooby's story. But hey, that's
all
just a theory. A film theory. And cut! If you want another theory about a...
Honestly, I think I could see that happening. So, if I had to take a guess, I don't know. It could be the creator gave, like, the original idea of the Tolpa to him, but still doesn't explain the teeth. It's still weird, though. Honestly, I thought it was something to do with a monster that, you know, fed on dreams and teeth, but I can't really think of anything. I don't know if I'm just off or not, but if you guys know, let me know. But until then, thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think of the theory. Laters.